let's knit a cute little pot holder together. So if this is your first time knitting, this is a beginner friendly tutorial. It is super fun and easy, and you create something really cute at the end of it. So what you're gonna need is a pair of 8mm needles like these, some super bulky weight yarn, and you're gonna want to make sure that the yarn that you choose is 100% wool. You do not want a synthetic for a pot holder. So the first thing we're going to do is the slip knot. So you're going to hold your yarn like this, and there's a lot of different ways to do a slip on. This is just the way that I do a slip knot. You're going to take your needle and wrap it around, pinch that twist, take the yarn that is attached to your ball or your cake, like so, and wrap it around the needle and bring it through that loop that we created to make your slip knot. You're gonna snug it up. Don't make your stitches too tight. So you wanna make sure that it slides on your needle a lot, because if it's too tight, then it's not gonna be fun to knit with at all. So I'm gonna move this out of the way and bring my yarn in. All right, so you're gonna make a slingshot like this, and you're going to take your needle, and you're gonna go alongside and through the loop that you created with your yarn along your thumb. And we've created, you see that? We created a loop. And now you're gonna take the yarn that is on your pointing finger, wrap it around your needle, and bring it through the loop that you created on your thumb, like that. So, and remember, you don't wanna snug it up too tight, right? So again, slingshot, insert your needle through the loop on your thumb, and take the yarn from your pointing finger, wrap it around your needle, and bring it through the loop on your thumb. And just snug it up a little bit, right? I'm just gonna let you watch me do this a few times. And YouTube has a really cool feature now where you can actually slow down the video. So if you find that I'm even going too fast doing this, just slow down the video. And remember to have patience with yourself, because when you're learning anything new, it can be frustrating, and your stitches might be all wonky and like not neat or tidy. So what I would suggest is just practicing doing your long tail cast on until you have the right tension and everything looks nice and neat and it feels good. So you can just take the day just to practice this casting on. And there's a lot of different ways to cast on. This is just one of them. This is my preferred way to cast on. It makes a nice neat edge, and it's a bit stretchy as well. That's why I prefer this cast on method. There's also the cable cast on, which I do like that one as well, especially with sweaters. You can add stitches with the cable cast on, but this is called the long tail cast on. So that's why we had to have a long tail, right? So we're going to continue casting on like so. So just practice casting on for the day, honestly, until you get comfortable with it. So I'm not going to even bother like counting the stitches right now, because this is a pot holder. It doesn't really matter unless you were selling the pot holders in your Etsy shop or something, which I totally recommend doing. If you're just making it for a gift or whatever, it doesn't really matter how many stitches you have, but do leave a tail on after you finish casting on. Make sure to leave a tail, because you're going to take your yarn needle and you're going to weave in the ends to hide them. So make sure that you leave a bit of a tail. All right, so now we can start knitting. All right, so we're going to transfer our loaded needle to the left hand, and with the right hand we're going to start knitting. So you're going to insert your needle from the front to the back like that. See, do you see that? And yarn over and pull through the stitch and then off that needle, and you've completed your first stitch. Now don't tighten it up so much that it's going to make it difficult to do the next row. Again, from the front of the stitch to the back, yarn over, pull through, and off. Like that. And you're just going to continue until the very end. And you always knit the first, because this is going to be like our foundation row. So I'm going to show you for the second row, I'm going to show you a technique that makes your edges really nice and neat. So they're going to look like that. Isn't that pretty? Ooh, with the sun. So nice. This is actually called Lemon. This is a color in my shop as well, so you can go check that out. But it just makes the edges really nice and neat. So I'm going to continue knitting. And I knit a Continental, so I hold the yarn in my left hand, but there's also English knitting as well. So I encourage you to try all the different styles to find the style that feels good for you. So for English knitting, you would hold it in the right hand, right? The right hand, wrap it around the needle and pull through the stitch like that. So I find English really difficult, so I do Continental. So I hold the stitch or the yarn in my left hand and I yarn over. So you can wrap it around your pinky for tension if you want. I don't. I figured out my own little style, and you will too. So there's no wrong way to hold it. As long as it's comfortable for you and it doesn't hurt your hands, that's the main goal. It's to make sure that you're enjoying your knitting and it's not painful or frustrating. And you might find like you're either a loose knitter or a tight knitter or whatever. It doesn't matter. All right, so this is the second row, and for this last stitch, I'm going to show you how to make that nice clean edge on your projects. So we're going to knit to the last stitch. Oops, I just split my yarn. Dang. Okay. So we're going to knit to that last stitch. Oh my goodness, I did it again. Of course, when I'm recording, that's when I have... That's when I'm splitting my yarn and all kinds of stuff, right? So the sun's starting to come out. So nice. Not pretty. Okay, we're gonna keep on going until that last stitch here. We're almost there. And one more. Okay, so for this last stitch, you're going to bring the yarn to the front of the work as if to purl, and you're going to insert your needle as if to purl the stitch, but you're just going to slip it to the other needle. You're not going to knit that last stitch, okay? And you're going to transfer it over to your left hand again, and we're just going to knit that stitch like normal. And you're going to do that, you're going to repeat that row that we just did for the entire project. Okay, it's only that last stitch that you're going to slip. So it'd be slip yarn in front purlwise is actually what it's called. And I do have that technique in the pattern, so you can download it on my website. And I do have another knitting video on how to knit, and it does show the stockinette stitch as well, so you can go check out that video if you like. And I do have a knitting podcast as well that you can watch. Okay, so we're at that last stitch again, remember? So we're gonna bring the yarn to the front of the work, and we're gonna insert our needle as if to purl that stitch, but we're just gonna slip it off and transfer it over, and then just continue knitting like that until we're all done, until we actually have a pot holder sized project. And if you wanted to keep on going and practice, go for it. I think it's a really good, easy project that you can just get lost in and enjoy listen to a podcast or watch a TV show or something and just practice. And the super bulky is like awesome because look how thick that is. Like it'll protect your counter because that's nice and thick wool. This wool, actually, I'm designing a vest pattern with this wool right now, and it knits up so nice and quick. So I will have that on my site as well. Okay, so we're at that last stitch again. Bring the yarn to the front of the work, purl that, like insert your needle as if to purl, but we're just gonna slip it off. We're not gonna knit that last stitch, okay? Tighten it up a little bit, transfer it over, and do it all over again. And it creates this really nice edge to the work. See how nice and neat that is? It just makes, and these are really great for quick gifts. Like if you knitted up a couple of these and gave them as a gift at Christmas or for anything really. It's just, it's such a nice, I love getting handmade gifts, but they just knit up really quick. They're easy. They're a lot of fun to make. You could sell them at the market too, or on your Etsy shop if you have one. Like fly at it. I have the pattern on my website, and you're more than welcome to use that pattern to sell finished products off. You can't, like take the pattern and give it to other people or whatever, because that's not cool, or sell the pattern, that's definitely not cool. But you totally can make things and sell them from the pattern if you like to. So for this pattern anyway, okay, so we're on that last stitch again. Bring that yarn to the front of the work, insert as if to purl, but we're just gonna slip it off. And see, you can start to tell, it's not focusing very well, but anyway, you can start to tell that the edges are like coming together, and it's just really nice. So I'm going to let you go and knit this up, and I will meet you back at the end of the video, and I'll show you how to bind off your work and weave in the ends. All right, so my video cut out there for a second, but I did started binding off for you, so we're gonna do that again. I'm gonna show you how to bind off your work. So what you're gonna do is just start knitting until you have 2 stitches on this needle here. And now that I have 2, you're going to take your needle and insert it purl-wise into the back loop and pull it over the front loop. And that completes a bind off stitch. Now I'm going to show you also how to do the crochet bind off. This is my preferred way just because this hook makes it so much easier to bind off. So you're going to grab a crochet hook that is the same size as your needles, and you're gonna do the same thing. The hook just makes it easier. So you're gonna insert it as if to knit, pull through the loop, and now that we have 2 loops on our crochet hook, you're just going to bring one through the other, just like that, and it makes the same bind off. I just prefer doing it this way because the hook makes it so much easier. So again, it is insert as if you're knitting, just like that. Pull it through that loop, and you don't want to make it too tight, okay? And just continue that until you are all done. So we're gonna do that till we get to the end here. And this, actually this sample that I just made for the video was a little bit smaller than the pot holder that I have made for the website. So I believe I casted on 16 stitches for this, but you can go download the pattern and have it. So this is kind of ends up being like a mug coaster. That's okay. It's good practice either way. And I suggest, like when you're starting out, don't overwhelm yourself by complicated patterns, because it's just gonna frustrate you and you might give up, and knitting should be fun and relaxing. All right, so we have bound off all of our stitches there, and we're going to I'm not going to cut this on video because I actually want to rip this out and use this for a vest that I'm using right now, but you would cut a long tail like right there, and then you're going to take that and you're going to weave it in. So I'm going to show you how to weave in your ends with this tail. So I'm going to grab our needle, our yarn needle, and a yarn needle just has a really big eye there. And you're going to thread your yarn, and with this super bulky stuff it is difficult, but just be patient. Pull it through, and now that it's on our needle, we're just going to take and follow our stitches just like they appear on the pot holder. It's getting really sunny out, so it might be hard for you to see, but what we're gonna do is just go through the stitch like that, and you're just gonna follow the stitch pattern of your project. So it's not even going to show up. You're not gonna be able to really see it all that much, and you're gonna double back on yourself so it kind of secures that thread in place. So there we go. And then you would snip it off and play with it a little bit, and it will actually hide it in your work, just like I did with this one here. The sunshine is coming out, so it's making it kind of hard to see, so it's a good time to wrap up. But yeah, this is a really great first project, and you've got those nice neat edges to your work, and it just makes everything nice and neat and tidy. You can make pot holders or a mug coaster or what have you, but I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I have more tutorials on my YouTube channel along with the knitting podcast that I would love to see you come and be a part of. So yeah. For more, pop over to my website. It is m1rknit.com.